One night, a simple barbecue man thought he had lost everything. His wife left him. His debts piled higher than the smoke rising from his grill. Life felt like ashes in his hands. But then, a stranger appeared. With a single envelope. A letter that would change everything. Suddenly, he was not just a man with a grill. He was the heir to a billionaire fortune. A life full of luxury, secrets, and danger. What he did not know was that this fortune came with enemies waiting in the shadows. Would he survive the truth, or would it burn him alive? Watch till the end, because nothing is as it seems. The grill hissed behind him. Fat dripped onto hot coals. Smoke crawled up his nose, bitter and oily. He wiped his hands on a stained apron. The phone vibrated in his pocket. Once. Then again. He answered without looking. Her voice sounded flat, like a door closing slowly. She said she was leaving. She said she was tired of smoke, debt, and burnt nights. She said she deserved more. The street outside the stall kept moving. Motorbikes roared past. A bus coughed black air. No one noticed his chest tightening. The skewer slipped from his fingers. Meat hit the ground. Dust clung to the sauce like grit on a wound. His ears rang. He smelled charcoal and iron, sharp and metallic. A customer cleared his throat. The world felt smaller. Heat pressed against his face. Sweat rolled into his eyes, stinging. He nodded to no one. The call ended. Silence rushed in, loud and heavy. He stared at the grill as flames flared higher. A memory burned. Her packed suitcase by the door that morning. Her eyes already elsewhere. A horn blared nearby. He flinched. His heart thudded unevenly. A stranger stepped closer, blocking the light. Polished shoes near the curb. A tailored coat, too clean for this street. The man spoke his name correctly. Every syllable precise. A cold breeze slid under the apron. The stranger held out an envelope. Thick paper. A seal pressed deep. Red wax cracked as it touched his fingers. He felt a tremor run up his arm. The smell of the envelope felt wrong, like old money and rain. He looked up. The stranger smiled without warmth. Sirens wailed far away. The grill popped, sending sparks into the air. The letter mentioned a family he never met. A company he never heard of. Numbers with too many zeros. His mouth went dry. The street noise faded. The stranger leaned closer. The words heir and estate hovered between them. A shadow passed over the stall. The flames surged again. The envelope grew heavier in his hand. Someone called his name from behind. He turned as the stranger whispered a date, a location, and a truth that made his knees soften, and the heat from the grill pressed harder as the street tilted and the envelope began to slip from his fingers. The envelope slid free. It struck the pavement with a dull sound. Paper spilled open like a wound. He bent slowly, joints stiff. The street smelled sharper now. Oil. Sweat. Something electric in the air. His fingers brushed the page. Names stared back at him. His name, printed in bold. His father's name beneath it. A name he had only heard once, whispered by his mother before she died. The grill crackled louder. A flare of fire licked upward. Heat wrapped around his wrists. The stranger watched, unblinking. Cars passed, unaware. A child laughed nearby. The sound felt distant, unreal. He swallowed. His throat felt coated with ash. The letter spoke of a death overseas. A sudden accident. A private jet. A sealed will. His vision blurred. He smelled rust again. His chest tightened, slow and heavy. The stranger stepped back. Another man appeared beside him. Then another. All dressed the same. Clean. Quiet. Too calm. One of them glanced at the stall sign. The faded paint. The crooked letters. His life, reduced to peeling wood and smoke. A hand touched his shoulder. Firm. Professional. Not cruel, but not kind. The touch sent a chill through him. The man said they had been looking for him for years. He said the money was waiting. He said his wife left just in time. The words cut deeper than the heat. The grill hissed again. Sauce boiled over. Flames climbed higher, wild and hungry. Customers stepped back. Someone shouted. He did not move. His ears filled with a low hum. The papers fluttered in the heat. One corner began to curl and blacken. He grabbed it quickly. The paper burned his skin. Pain grounded him. Real. Sharp. He inhaled hard. Smoke filled his lungs. He coughed once. Then again. The men exchanged glances. One spoke softly about security risks. Another mentioned enemies. Old rivals. Hidden debts disguised as loyalty. The word danger hung in the air. A siren grew louder now. Closer. Red light flashed across chrome surfaces. The world felt suddenly crowded. Too many eyes. Too many exits. His phone vibrated again. He looked at the screen. Her name glowed there. Bright. Persistent. The grill roared as grease ignited fully, flames leaping like they wanted attention, and he stood between fire and paper, between the life he knew and the truth pressing closer, feeling the heat crawl up his spine as the men waited and the phone kept vibrating in his palm. The phone vibrated harder. The sound drilled into his palm. He did not answer. He felt every pulse like a warning. The flames bent sideways with the wind. Heat licked his forearms. His skin tightened. Sweat dripped from his chin onto the papers. Ink smeared slightly. Names blurred, but the numbers stayed clear. Too large to ignore. A man reached toward the grill controls. He pushed the hand away without thinking. The touch shocked them both. The men stepped back again. Their faces stayed calm. Their eyes did not. The siren stopped nearby. A police car idled at the corner. Blue light washed over the stall. The metal skewers glowed briefly. A shadow moved behind him. Footsteps paused. Then continued. The city breathed around him. He felt trapped inside that breath. One man spoke about transfer documents. Another mentioned private protection. A third watched the street, alert. The smell of burning meat turned sour. He tasted it on his tongue. It felt like failure. Like goodbye. His phone vibrated again. He silenced it with his thumb. The screen went dark. The silence felt heavier than the noise before. The men exchanged another look. One nodded slowly. A black vehicle rolled closer, smooth and quiet. The windows reflected firelight. The door opened just enough to show leather seats. Cold air spilled out. It brushed his legs. Goosebumps rose. He glanced at his stall. The cracked counter. The knife marks. The grease stains that never washed away. Years of standing here. Nights of smoke in his lungs. Promises made over burnt ribs. Promises broken. The grill flared suddenly. A loud crack. A burst of sparks. Someone shouted again. He did not hear the words. His ears rang softly. One of the men said time was limited. He said others would come. Less polite. More desperate. The envelope was warm now. Almost hot. His fingers trembled as he folded it. Paper scraped against burned skin. Pain pulsed. He welcomed it. It kept him upright. The police car door opened. Then closed. The engine revved. Then moved away. Blue light faded. The street returned to its usual chaos. No one asked questions. No one waited. The black vehicle waited. The men waited. He stood still. Smoke curled around his head. The world smelled like charcoal and money. His phone buzzed once more, softer this time, and he stared at the dark screen while the fire behind him roared higher. The men stepped closer, and the space between the grill and the waiting car shrank with every breath he took. The buzz stopped. Silence spread through his palm. His hand felt empty without the sound. The fire snapped sharply behind him. A wave of heat pushed his back forward. Ash floated in the air like grey snow. He blinked against the sting. His eyes watered, but he did not cry. The men shifted their weight. Shoes scraped lightly on the pavement. One glanced down the street again. Another adjusted an earpiece. A low murmur passed between them. Not meant for him. The black vehicle door opened wider. Leather creaked softly. The smell inside was different. Clean. Cold. Expensive. It clashed with smoke and grease. His stomach twisted. The envelope pressed against his ribs. Each breath bent it slightly. The paper felt fragile now, like it could vanish if he loosened his grip. A woman approached the stall. She pointed at the fire. She spoke fast. Concerned. He did not answer. One of the men guided her away gently. She left, confused. The grill roared again. A skewer rolled free and hit the ground. Metal rang once. Sharp and final. He smelled burning plastic. The edge of a crate had caught fire. Flames crawled greedily. He stamped it out with his shoe. The sole smoked. The heat traveled upward. His calf burned. He did not react. Pain felt distant, muted by something heavier. One man cleared his throat. He spoke of responsibilities, of legacy, of a family name tied to ports, towers, and banks. Words stacked high, too high to climb. Another man spoke of betrayal, of people who would smile first, then strike. The word inheritance hung thick in the air. It tasted bitter, like overcooked meat. His thoughts drifted back to the morning. Her footsteps fading down the hall. The door closing without force. No slam. Just certainty. The grill crackled again. A final flare lit the street. Faces glowed orange. For a moment, everyone looked the same. Then the light dropped. Shadows returned. The black vehicle idled softly. Patient. Waiting. He felt something shift inside his chest. Not relief. Not fear alone. Something sharp and unfamiliar. Resolve, edged with disbelief. His fingers tightened around the envelope. Paper creased loudly. The sound cut through the noise. All eyes turned to him. The men paused. The street seemed to lean closer. He stepped forward once. Then stopped. Heat pressed against his spine again. The fire refused to die. Neither did the past. He stood between smoke and silence, between grease and glass, knowing that whatever waited inside that car would not stay quiet, would not stay kind, and as the flames climbed once more behind him, a figure appeared at the far end of the street, watching, still and intent, while the men stiffened and the night seemed to draw in a slow, dangerous breath. The figure did not move. Streetlight cut the shape into sharp edges. A coat hung loose. Hands stayed hidden. The men noticed at the same time. Their posture changed. Shoulders squared. Breaths slowed. One of them touched his earpiece again. The grill snapped loudly. A spark jumped and died on the pavement. His heart began to pound harder. Each beat felt heavier than the last. The envelope pressed flat against his chest. It felt like a target. The black vehicle door paused midair. Not closing. Not inviting. Waiting. The figure stepped forward once. Shoes scraped softly. The sound carried too clearly. The street noise dipped again. As if listening. A vendor nearby stopped shouting prices. Music from a shop cut off abruptly. Silence gathered in pieces. The figure raised a head slightly. Eyes caught the firelight. Cold. Focused. One of the men muttered a name under his breath. Another shifted closer to him. Protective now. The smell of smoke thickened. It clung to his hair. His clothes. His skin. The grill flared again, angry and bright. Heat slammed into his back. He winced. The pain pulled him fully into the moment. The figure took another step. Then another. Slow. Measured. Not rushed. The distance shrank. He noticed the way the stranger scanned the scene. The men. The car. The envelope crease visible through his shirt. A smile touched the stranger's mouth. Brief. Wrong. One of the men raised a hand slightly. A warning. The stranger stopped. Cars passed at the far end of the street. Unaware. A horn honked impatiently. Life continued somewhere else. The stranger spoke his name. Softly. Correctly. The sound sent a chill across his shoulders. The grill hissed like it was answering. One of the men stepped in front of him. Another moved toward the car door. The stranger laughed quietly. No humor in it. Only recognition. The laugh mixed with the crackle of fire. His mouth felt dry again. He tasted smoke and fear together. The envelope edges bent as his grip tightened. Paper threatened to tear. The stranger tilted the head. Eyes never left him. The men spoke quickly now. Low. Urgent. The word late floated through the air. The stranger took one more step anyway. Close enough now that he could smell cologne. Sharp. Clean. Expensive, like the car. The grill roared again behind him, louder than before, flames climbing high and wild, and as heat surged and shadows stretched across the street, he realized that leaving the stall would not end the fire, would only change where it burned, and the stranger's smile widened just enough to promise that this was only the beginning of something far more dangerous. The flames reached their highest point. Then settled. The grill calmed, as if listening. The stranger stopped smiling. The men did not move closer. Time stretched thin between them. He inhaled slowly. Smoke filled his lungs one last time. Not panic. Not rush. Clarity. He looked at the stall again. The place where his life burned day after day. The place that took everything and gave just enough to survive. He reached out. Turned the gas knob. The fire lowered with a sharp hiss. Silence followed. The sound felt final. He wiped his hands on the apron. Grease-stained. Honest. He folded it carefully. Placed it on the counter. A quiet goodbye. The stranger watched closely. The men relaxed slightly. He stepped away from the grill. Each step felt lighter. The street seemed wider now. Air cooler. He faced the black vehicle. Faced the unknown waiting inside. He did not look back again. The door closed behind him with a soft, heavy sound. The engine purred. The street lights slid past the window. Smoke faded into distance. The stall shrank until it disappeared. In its place stood a future he never asked for. Never imagined. Yet could not refuse. As the car merged into the night traffic, the envelope rested steady in his hands, no longer burning, no longer shaking, and for the first time since the phone call, since the fire, since the truth revealed itself, his breath evened out as the city swallowed the past and carried him forward toward a life that would never again be simple, but would finally be his.